this ride is going to be about 30 minutes, and we're going to narrate some of the high points along the way. So when we get going, we like to say all aboard. So you ready? All aboard! All right.
My sister this whole time did not know that they had a
Nevada County narrow gauge was built between 1874 and 1876 and operated until 1943. March of 43 was the last run. The railroad was abandoned because of World War II, and the mines were all shut down here. So they lost all the last of their business.
Sea monster.
We're going to make a little stop here. The engine you're looking at here, the locomotive, is Nevada County 5. It's also known as the Tahoe. It started its life in 1875 at South Lake Tahoe and operated there until about 1899 when it was purchased by the Nevada County Narrow Gauge. And it operated here until 1940 when it was sold as Excess in Universal Studios. And it was purchased specifically for a John Wayne movie called The Spoilers. And then it stayed at Universal for 45 years until we brought it back home in 85. And, now it's fully restored and operational, and it's the oldest narrow gauge locomotive in the country right now. Beat its sister, the Glenbrook, by about 3 builders members. So Glenbrook is at Carson City. A new project we're starting on. This project is like 2 years out, but that's the truck on the left is a Carter Brothers 10-ton truck, pre-1899, and so it's an old and very rare. That's the only known survivor of the 10-ton class, and so we're going to build a duplicate, and there we have patterns available, so we can build it up so we'll have a duplicate pair, and then we're going to build a replica Nevada County narrow gauge boxcar. Narrow gauge used to build their own boxcars after 1877.
No, they don't have anything else.
And this car here, we're just finishing it, and it's what they call a heavy-duty donkey flat, and a donkey is those big vertical steam donkeys with big boilers with winches on them, used for power to winch logs after they've been cut down. And this one is the only survivor, and we're going to put a vintage Nevada City grader on it, 1949 grader on it, and put it out on Railroad Avenue for display. This is a 1897 Florence and Cripple Creek combine. Florence and Cripple Creek was in Colorado. Their gold rush was a little later than ours, around the late 1880s, early 90s. This car we just got several years ago, and we have 2 of its sisters. One's in the museum, you may have seen it, and the other one is in the restoration shop undergoing its restoration. And anyway, interesting projects, keeps everybody busy here. This little car here, we built this last winter. We did it in 6 months, including rebuilding the trucks from the ground up. And it's the flat is modeled after the 1875 Lake Tahoe flat cars that number 5, our engine used to pull up the grade up to Schooner Summit.
97, big car.
So we just left the yard limits of the museum and we're entering the in-town campground, and we run down about 700 feet of track on the edge of their property. This campground is known as a glamping campground, glamorous camping. It's been voted number 1 in the country 3 years in a row. And very nice place to stay. They have Wi-Fi. Those tents are those hard point tents are very fancy. So the reason we're stopping here is we have the new Mohawk mine was located here. There were 2 shafts. One shaft was right here. You can see the corner of where the head frame used to be. And the Chinese cemetery is just right up here, and the other shaft was on the corner of the Chinese cemetery. Anyway, they went down to probably around 100 to 120 feet here. There was an ancient riverbed in this whole area, you know, from millions of years ago, and before the mountains pushed up. And anyway, they go down, and there's like a 10-foot thick gravel base from the riverbed, and that's where all the gold bearing ore was, and that's what they were going after here. Like the Empire mine, they went down like a couple thousand feet as they were chasing gold veins, you know, in the quartz. Which is a sideways entrance into a mine. They're also referred to as an adit. And anyway, this one is just a facade, you know, but it was put in just to show what they would look like if the mine was still open. The creek you see on the right is Gold Run Creek, and this whole area was loaded with gold in 1849 when they first discovered gold in Sutter Creek, and then here. And this area became like the 3rd most populated area in California behind San Francisco and Sacramento. Probably was no rock unturned around here. So when the easy gold was panned out, then they began tunneling and chasing the gold veins. Now what we're doing, the reason we're stopping here is we're throwing a switch so we can go in reverse. This is called a switchback. You know, so the railroads didn't have enough space to circle out and around or grade up. Normally, they would put in switchbacks, and so you would back up through a section of track, for another switch and then go forward again.
How are we picking up?
What we're crossing now is the northern into like a park. All these trees in here are not native, but this place explodes in color. In the autumn months. It's really beautiful here. We started working with the Northern Queen around the late 1980s, and we owned all the rail equipment and initially, and then later it was 3-foot gauge, and then later they decided to buy the property where the in-town campground is, and decided to go 2-foot gauge for part of the railroad, and that way they could switch back again up to the grades and up to the top of where the in-town campground is. They had a runaround route there. So we have some of our equipment stashed down here. A lot of it's former West Side lumber logging equipment. The car on the far end is the early version of the log car, and about 1899 when they started making these cars for the West Side. The Carter brothers in Newark, California, which is these 38-foot, what they call it, skeleton cars, and they could haul a lot of board feet of lumber. The West Side bought 99 of these from the Swain Lumber Company in Orville in 1940. This is one of the survivors. Somebody back there. Oh. Good. So they're working on this switch right now, so we just have to be careful. Okay? Yeah. We're upgrading the switch because our engine, number 5, is a heavy locomotive, and the weight plays heck. The reason we're stopping here is to show you a hydraulic mining piece of equipment. See that big cannon? Does anybody know what those are called? They're referred to as monitors, and they use these to wash down the sides of the hills and mountains, to wash the gold-bearing ore and down to sluice boxes. But a byproduct. We're going to go through a spring switch here, so you'll feel a little bump. This spring switch is set. So it's set so it can go one direction, but when you come back the other way, the front wheels will push the point out and then close right behind it. So the switchman doesn't have to get out for this one. This is the Northern Queen Inn, and this little runaround was put in for the 2-foot. We re-gauged it for 3 feet. that's why it's kind of tight and squealy. Because the 100-foot circumference is pretty tight, 70 foot. Initially, as I said, there was a 2-foot gauge run around here, and when the Ramies abandoned their project, I was able to get the new owners to agree to let us